considering that, yes, we are an Islamic nation, but there are a lot of other religions in the country, and also religion is considered to be a very sensitive topic. It should not be weaponized and politicized as it is now.
I mean, this one generally deserves a clap. Look, religious, as I was initially referring to my point about the identity, part of our identity crisis is that we think that we have monopolized the question of identity and it has to take inspiration from the faith of Islam. What sort of Muslim are you? Are you a Ahl Hadith Muslim, or a Brelvi Muslim, or a Ahl Tashi Muslim, or Deobandi Muslim, so on and so forth. All these sub-identities of those sub-sectors of identity creates further confusion. So what is the position of Hindus among us, or Christians among us, or Ahmadis among us, which we by law have divorced them from the main faith? And then how do you bring that inclusiveness into this question of identity? And how do you project, if there is a nation building, which he was referring to, and how could you articulate that new branding of Pakistan? Or is it even needed? Is it even required? Or does the rest of the nations have taken that course? Answer to all of these questions is yes. We need to do that. How do we do it? I think so we have to do it in a very wise manner. I am a follower and a fan of Iqbal. And I am very much fortunate that I had access to read him in Persian. In one of his couplets, he says, Guft hikmat ra khuda khaire kasir, that God has declared wisdom as a abundant good. If he gives wisdom to someone, he has bestowed him with abundance good. So whatever we do, we need to do it wisely. When I say we need to do it wisely, I mean the most sacrosanct thing in any society is social order. Look at the early 13 years of the Prophet. He faced all kind of persecutions, but he did not challenge the social order. I mean, he was excluded from the society, he was physically attacked, he was challenged on the ideas which he believed were truthful, and the people who were representing, according to him, the falsehood ideas were more dominant. They were part of the group of the oppressors, tyranny, but he did not challenge the social order. So there is a sanctity and sacrosanct status of social order. Whenever you want to transform such thing, you keep that at the back of your mind, that while keeping this social order, how do you transform those values, those systems, in a way, in a manner where the peaceful coexistence is morphed in a way that the jolts are unfelt. The jolts are not there where the disintegration or the chance of the disintegration is there. Who would lead such a journey? You, him, he, me, all of us. All of us has to contribute and think about it. That's why my request to those jingoistic youngsters who just want to change everything with this one election day, good, go and vote that day, definitely. But changes, they evolve. They evolve, they are gelled in, sometime in decades, sometime even in centuries. So we have to be profound, we have to be deep, and we have to represent the true soul of ours, whatever it is. So let's explore first ourselves in honesty, and then reflect ourselves what we believe in. Thank you. Ji Chanda.
Assalamu alaikum, Honorable Prime Minister. It's very heartening to hear you coming over here, the Premier of the country, and saying and encouraging us that LUM students, we seek knowledge, we seek originality. It's very heartening, but then I hearken back to earlier times. A few months ago, right at the start of your tenureship, when you talked about the social contract, you talked about the Pakistan social contract with its citizens. It should only have a primary purpose. That is to ensure law and order. And I believe that goes against the very statement you gave right now about encouraging originality and seeking knowledge and giving an enabling environment. I believe in order to give an enabling environment to the youth of this nation, there has to be two things: freedom of expression and freedom from discrimination. I believe we here, LUM students, people of a very privileged class, both in terms of socio-economic class and religious caste as well, we aren't at the same level, and the level freedom of expression we have cannot ever compare to the youth out in South Punjab, out in Karachi, those Afghan refugees. They can never compare to us. So how do you feel that a social contract that is based on law and order as a primary purpose can ever ensure those two things to make sure that the rest of our youth actually get a chance to have an enabling environment?
First of all, I understand your presumption of feeling privileged and at times even as a victim of that available privilege. This is a kind of a syndrome many individuals go through, and they feel that we are at an advantageous situation from the rest of our compatriots. So they are at a disadvantaged position, and they look at them as a victim card. My experience in life is a bit different, you know. I've done my graduation as a private student from Balochistan University. I've done my BA as a private entity. I've been able to talk to Oxford Union and Harvard Forum of Pakistan. That same individual which you are referring to, I'm the product of that experiment. I have been raised in Quetta. I was born in Quetta. I was raised in Quetta. I attended a school till class 7th in Quetta. And then I went for a scholarship, a student to Cadet College Cohort for 3 years, and then returned to Quetta. Okay? All my life, what I have done is that I've taken or I've been dependent on books. And I have encouraged myself that my thoughts are stimulated by the new concepts and ideas wherever they are published across the globe. First of all, whatever I was saying over there is not in contradiction over here. When you agree to sit in this space, in this hall, let me use it as a metaphor for the state or for the society, if it is more convenient. If these walls are the guarantors of state or society, then the social contract, or the hall contract, if you may call it, between these two entities has to translate in terms of rights and responsibilities both. We always think that we have got rights. I should have the freedom of expression. I should have the freedom of rights. I should have the freedom to abuse. I should have freedom for arson, and so on and so forth. In that social contract, the state also has certain rights. This little girl was talking about the Constitution. Beta, do you know Article 5 of the Constitution? I'm just asking. Even if you don't know, it's okay. Yes or no? No. Everyone knows Article 6? Article 5 says that you have to have unconditional loyalty with the state. You cannot put a condition. For instance, if I can metaphor state with parents, you can't say, if my father provides me evening meal, I will accept him as a father. You can't condition that. You cannot condition your loyalty with the state while having the right of freedom of expression, though it should be ensured. Though it should be ensured. There has to be some rules and regulations which everyone has to follow. If you do not have that framework, you will lead towards chaos. And according to some of the historians, not according to me, it is better to have few centuries of tyranny rather than few weeks of anarchy. Anarchy is bad. Anarchy is worst. You don't have an idea of anarchy. I don't have an idea of anarchy because we have not experienced it. I'll just quote one of the anarchical experiment in the region is with the Yazidi woman in Iraq. This girl who was referring to multiple religious identity question. Yazidis are the religious minority in Iraq, and their women, once the state structure collapsed, everything was in anarchy. When they all had the freedom of expression to say whatever they want to, what would you say maximum in an anarchical situation? The Yazidi women were sold for $50 as a commodity. So then that is the kind of a situation you end in. Do we seek such an outcome for 240 million people? I'm sure all of decent human beings sitting over here are definitely not. When you raise questions, when you criticize political system, economic system, or any other system, there has to be a rule of engagement. And if you defy those rules, then there are certain laws to penalize that behavior. Bolo, mera beta, bol.
Sir, I certainly understand. Sir, I certainly understand that, for example, your position over here, that if a state gives rights to its citizens, then there should be some responsibilities. And I'm sure we all agree we don't want the outcome which you just described in Iraq or Iran, sorry. But I feel like all of us over here do not want the outcome that we're currently seeing in Pakistan. That is when the penalties...
That is?
When the penalties are not proportionate to the crime committed, even if calling that a crime is just going against rules and regulations.
Like, for instance, you're referring to 9th May?
And the outcomes of it.
Be open. Why are you hesitant? Nobody is stifling you here. Come on. Let me.
And sir, the reason why I am not open and some of us may not be able to be open is another...
Take the initiative. Let me be the open guy. Okay?
Okay, sir.
Look, probably 9th May is relatively not that big a fault or a challenge or a defiant political behavior. First of all, it is unprecedented. Secondly, we don't have a comparison in our lives. So that's why we take it pretty much cool that it's okay, it was just an anger of one day, so what if it has happened, and that there has to be a proportionate application to handle of law and force both. The settled democracy of Jeffersonian democracy of the United States of America, what happened in Capitol Hill on that day, a lad or a girl of your age went there and took a picture in the chair of Nancy Pelosi, who was the Speaker of the House at that day. And for taking that picture, she's been awarded probably 4 or 5 years of imprisonment, just on taking that picture where she occupied the official chair physically. I'm not talking about arson, I'm not talking about riots. And there are people who have been charged with 18 years of imprisonment. Why all our participants, and if they believe in, they should continue with it. If you want to have the right of violent agitation, then you should accept the lawful consequence of that behavior, isn't it? If I, God forbid, kill someone, I should know that there is a capital punishment as a consequence of my action. Well, there is a due process. There is a due process. I'm not engaging in that debate with you. I have got very strong reservations. When there was a law which does say that military courts can be conducted by, then this apex courts even thrashes out the law. You all are students of law over here. It is only function of the parliament to make laws. It is not the function of the superior judiciary to make law. Why do they make law? It could be a good law or a bad law, but it is the function of the parliament. When you enter into a marital contract, then you have got exclusive physical rights to each other. Third party cannot enter. So it is a third party entry if they do that. So I've got very strong views on that too. But let's agree to disagree, and this is the way we should talk. We should vent it out, we should think about it, we should talk about and think about even the alternate view. I might get something quite enlightening from your side, or otherwise you may get it from my side. But this is the kind of dialogue or conversation we should have. We cannot have monologues. What is happening in this society? There is one group who's supporting PMLN, there is a group which is supporting PTI, and then there are religious groups. And what actually they are doing, they are retreating whatever convictions they have. They are reinforcing that on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, in normal conversations. That's why when you raise question, you receive applause. What is the point of having applause for a question? Why? Do you understand or do you realize? Why should I be expecting applause for an answer? The question should be raised in the true spirit of inquiry. It should not be for appreciation. But there is, I understand, all of us, we have constituencies. So that constituency translates that support into the applause. That's what we are doing. That's where my point comes, that we will go for plagiarism. We will not be able to create knowledge. Criticize anything. You want to criticize military, you want to criticize judiciary, you want to criticize parliament, economy, politics. Just one single couplet of Iqbal again for guidance. Gila beja bhi kare koi to lazim hai shahur. Beja gila karo, doesn't matter. Lekin shaur ke saath. Baghair shaur ke na karo. Thank you.
Last couple of questions.
I am available, it's your choice.
हेलो अस्सलाम वालेकुम।
वालेकुम अस्सलाम।
तो सुबह डॉन न्यूज़ में पब्लिश हुआ था कि पाकिस्तान ने अफ़गान जो रेफ्यूजीज़ हैं उनको डिपोर्ट करना शुरू कर दिया है, और दो अफराद जो हैं वो कंटेनर के उल्टा होने से, जो हमारे सामान के जो कंटेनर्स होते हैं उसमें उनको भर भर के डाला जा रहा है और बॉर्डर्स के पास जाके छोड़ा जा रहा है। तो दो अफराद हलाक हैं, 14 ज़ख्मी हैं। एज केयर टेकर PM of the country, as the premier of the country, do you not think that this is, again, we make it seem to the rest of the world that we are so magnanimous, look, we're a poor country, we're struggling so much, but we've taken in millions of Afghan refugees and we're giving them a chance at a good life. Is this a chance at a good life? And what is your government essentially going to do to ensure that such law as well at the same time?
First of all, I get so overwhelmed and so happy when people and youngsters like yourself speak with passion. I really like it. This is the way one should be. First of all, my dear, where are you from? Are you from Lahore? Where are you from, if I may ask? Karachi. Okay. First of all, we are not sending one single refugee to Afghanistan. This is the biggest skewed presentation of our policy, which I keep repeatedly explaining to the people in my cabinet, outside the cabinet, on the TV, and give it to her. I have to explain it to her like I do it to my cabinet colleagues. There are around 5 million Afghans on this soil for last 50 years, or 40 or 45 years. And there are 3 categories of those people. The one is registered Afghan refugee, whom we have got obligation according to 1951 Geneva Convention, which, by the way, was the product of Holocaust, and it was during, not during post-Second World War, when the Holocaust was happening in Germany. The Jews were running away, and they were trying to have asylum in different parts of the world. This 1951 Geneva Convention was designed by League of Nations and then adopted by United Nations. We are, by the way, not signatory to that convention. Pakistan as a state. Let me clarify that too. Without a signatory, we have entertained those refugees for 40, 45 years. And anyone who's registered with UNHCR and our authorities as a refugee and who's residing either in the camps or otherwise is not being sent back. This is not what we are doing. Then there are people, which is around 1 or 1.2 million, who are categorized as illegal aliens. They don't have any sort of documents. They don't have travel documents. They either are here, we don't know, maybe leading a prayer in a mosque, or engaging with a terrorist, or maybe with a drug lord, or maybe contributing as a nurse in some hospital. They're both categories, good and bad both. But we are not visible to that. We don't know. I don't know whether you are a good student or a poor student. But you are a student. That's all I know. So in my system, I don't have visibility on them. And there is a need, which all the countries around the world do, including Afghanistan. Including Afghanistan. If you attempt and if you try to go there without documents, without Pakistani passport, you will see what kind of experiment you get over there. They don't allow entry without documents. You have to have a visa, a travel document, but for them, they want to have it all free. So what we have done here, that we are trying to bring them into a system, and all these illegal aliens, phase-wise, we are sending them back, encouraging them to go voluntarily, or otherwise send them back. According to the law, there is law, Foreign Act is there, which empowers us that we send back any foreigner or alien who is not into our lawful system. Once they go back, they have all the right to come back. They are not perpetually banned from re-entering into Pakistan. If they want to come back, they should issue a travel document from their own country, go to our mission, get a visa from there, whether they want to come for studies, for business, for any other purpose, just tourist visa, whatever. They definitely can come. But we need a regulated moment and regime with our neighbor. We should have done it earlier. We are late, but we're going to do it now.
Sir, I absolutely agree. There needs to be, a documentation of all the citizens of Pakistan, and we obviously cannot proceed without having Nadra cards, without having CNICs, all of that. They also cannot then access the healthcare system and other provisions. I completely agree with you there. What we saw this morning was people being loaded into cargo trucks, and I don't know if you would want to deny the Dawn news report as completely false, in which circumstance this conversation would not be happening. But 2 people have died in the legal process of deportation that is happening.
Some 90,000 people have been killed in this country, while some sort of role of such individuals has been identified and concluded by the authorities in this country. I mean, I am pained too, as like you are pained, by these two deaths. There are many deaths on all the sides. Are we for the deaths? No. Has an accident happened? I will see into that. Was it deliberate? No. We're not murderers. Come on.
Absolutely. You know, I'm not saying that we
Right?
are. Yeah.
And sometime you know what happened on the boats in and around Mediterranean when people watched them criminally when they were drowning. Pakistan has not done that. What happens in the strong conservative immigration regime of Australia? They created islands where they do not allow anyone to come to their shores and take advantage of their asylum laws. So what we are doing over here, this morning I had a cabinet meeting in which I think so there would be few who were sitting there, that we have to ensure the dignity of the people, because they would be vulnerable, there would be women, there would be children, and we cannot give license to our own either police agencies or other state agencies to take advantage of these vulnerable groups. I've instructed my interior minister that it should get translated to the execution level, to the implementation level. We are trying. I am a Pashtun myself. Most of them, they come from my ethnicity. So I won't be insensitive to the cultural requirements, to other humanistic requirements. All I can assure you that we are equally decent human beings, just like yourself. If you are feeling for these two deaths, trust me, we do too. And we not just feel for them, we try to rectify also that something bad does not happen, and at the same time our policies get implemented too.
Many hands up. So
Whatever. I'm dependent on my MS. Let's have... Yeah, we can take a bit. नहीं छोड़ रहे हैं तुम्हें?
सर थैंक यू फॉर द अपॉर्चुनिटी. सर अगर हम केपी और बलूचिस्तान की बात करें, अगर हम केपी और बलूचिस्तान की बात करें तो हमने पिछले 2 डेकेड्स में रिलीजियस एक्सट्रीमिज्म और फंडामेंटलिज्म, टेररिज्म से बहुत सफ़र किया है. लेकिन हमारी जो स्टेट है और पॉलिटिकल लीडरशिप, उनकी एक सॉलिड यूनिफाइड पॉलिसी नहीं रही है इस एक्सट्रीमिज्म और टेररिज्म से मुतालिक. फॉर इंस्टेंस टीटीपी को पहले आज़ाद छोड़ा गया, फिर स्वात ऑपरेशन हुआ, फिर उसके बाद जनरल फैज साहब आए, उन्होंने उनको रीलोकेट करने की कोशिश की ट्राइबल एरियाज़ में. फिर अब अफ़गान हुकूमत के साथ मिलकर उनके ख़िलाफ़ क्रैकडाउन हो रहा है. इसकी वजह से जो पश्तून और बलोच यूथ है उनमें एक एंटी स्टेट और एक एंटी आर्मी सेंटिमेंट पाया जाता है, जो कि आपको भी पता होगा, और जो ट्रांसलेट करता है आइडेंटिटी पॉलिटिक्स में. फॉर इंस्टेंस पुख्तून तहफ़्फ़ुज़ मूवमेंट, बलूचिस्तान लिबरेशन आर्मी, एक्सेट्रा एक्सेट्रा. So first of all, my question is, why has the state or the political leadership, especially of KP and Balochistan, not been able to have this single unified policy against all sorts of terrorism? So, and what's the solution? How do we avoid this kind of dilemma that we are in?
Where are you from?
I'm from Ardan, KP.
Pukhtunya laka?
Pukhtunya.
Kena. I mean, I'm so happy that you raised this, honest to God. एक तो ये जो आपके counterparts हैं ना, जो other provinces के, particularly Sindh और Punjab, they're very naive. They at times don't know, or they have not been through the experiences probably which the people from KP and Balochistan has gone through. And according to one of your colleague, that they are more aware. I feel politically our people are more conscious than these urban center kids. And no offense, it's just a political conversation. Our people have been more active in the movement of MRD, they have been more conscious in contributing movement against one unit, so on and so forth. So our youth, our political leadership have been very, very active politically. This is what I'm referring to. But the urban centers has more advantages. The political side, these rural class have been more contributing towards shaping the political landscape of Pakistan. First of all, what should be the relationship of violence and state? Let's address this question first. Let's bring it in a chronological order. The state should have monopoly over violence. If we settle on this question, the later on following chronological order can be explored and understood quite well. Now, what happens that a group emerges within the society and it wants to have a shareholding in the company of the state, and it says, no, I also have got the right to violence. If state can be violent, why not me? And for the political reasons that I will tell state how to translate its foreign policy. I will tell state whom to align with. I will tell state on the basis of either religion, ethnicity, whatever. In our case, religion and ethnicity too. What is TTP? Why TTP is killing us? Because they feel that we sided with the Americans in the war on terror. This is the prime criticism of it. So they want to determine the foreign policy on all of us through tool of violence. That if you do not change this policy of yours, I will blow myself and I will kill you. This is what exactly we are doing. And then in the society, be it political leadership based on nationalism or ethnic nationalism, religious nationalism or ethnic nationalism, the role of these leadership were that they had to educate and contribute towards opinion making, which unfortunately we are not doing. What we are doing, as I was referring over here, that I am more interested in a constituency. I want an applause on my question. I want an applause on my answer. And I see what is the rhetoric and the popular view amongst this audience. And I align myself with this rhetoric. I do not lead, I become a follower. So these leaders which probably you were referring to me they are all dwarfs, they are all followers. They are not leaders. If they would have been leaders, they would have dissected all these tendencies on historical basis. Do you know who the Khwarijis were? Most of you would know. If any religious leadership in Pakistan would have been genuine, they would have or should have a view on Khwarijis in the initial days of the Islam. Who accused Sayyidina Ali? Amir Muawiyah, he said, dono kafir. When Amir Maljam was arrested and he was asked, "Yo badbakht, tumne kyun Hazrat Ali ko mara?" So he had no remorse. He had no remorse and he said, "Can I get a chance to eliminate Amir Muawiyah too? क्योंकि इन दोनों ने उम्मत को तकसीम की है." So this is the kind of attitude you are facing, and you are mum and silent and ignorant and just growing beard and interested in your audience, which is more rhetorical, which is more related to populism. What would be the end product? The end product would be the kind of a chaos we are experimenting in Pakistan. Same goes with our nationalist leaders. Wait, now this is my turn. You asked your question. Do you know your place in Mardan and my place in Quetta was sold about 100 years back? Sold by whom? By our great Afghan compatriots. When no doubt Peshawar was Afghanistan, when no doubt Quetta was Afghanistan, but when the British Raj was extending towards Tsarist Russia and the great game was happening, in the Treaty of Gandamak, it was sold for some rupees. So I am the sold part, you are the sold part. how come we go back, and who would have the settlement of this 1 century, which the payment, by the way, has been received by the people residing in Kabul and Kandahar? So we are the sold one. Has these national leadership told you that, oh, our forefathers have sold us? Have you heard? Do you want me to name them? I won't do the point. Some are from Charsadda, some are from Gulistan, and some are now recently in PTM. Have they ever told you that we have been sold? Pashtuns have never been asked that what sort of a house they want. In 5,000 years of their history, Haq Kakar, who is the ancestral forefather of my tribe, is buried in Raat, who has a history of 5,000 years. Never they've been asked once in 1947, and they chose to remain in Pakistan. So Pashtun has got all psychological, social, political, economical stakes in the state of Pakistan. The biggest Pashtun population is not in Kabul, not in Kandahar, not in Quetta, not in Peshawar, it is in Karachi. Probably now followed by Lahore. Go and see the slums of Lahore, go and see the surroundings of Lahore. There is a huge Pashtun population even here now. The nation state is just like body politic. If you stop the blood flow movement, you will face death. The entire body politic of the nation state, the movement of the people has to be free. This is one of the basic definition of the state. Anyone can go to Waziristan, and any wazir can go and settle in Gwadar or in Karachi or anywhere else. You cannot restrict on the basis of identity and translate all the policies on that basis. The modernization phase in 21st century is gone beyond. You're living in the era of artificial intelligence, and we are stuck that ग्वादर जो है वो बाहर के लोग नहीं आ सकते. Okay, कहाँ के आ सकते हैं? What is the American experiment? America turned into all of you. I know you want to go to US, whether somebody accepts it or denies it. Why? Because it attracted the best of the best around the world. And I can't send a teacher to Kalat or to Mastung because he is a Punjabi. How can this social experiment grow? It can't. We have to be very realistic now. Let me take the last one. Oh, okay, ये बच्ची इनसे पूछो.
So, sir, amidst the declining economic growth, increasing debt, political instability and whatnot, I am genuinely curious that why did you feel the need to come to LUMS and address the students here? No, it's not, I'm sorry, it's not a humiliating question.
No, I don't get humiliated by
I am genuinely curious that amidst all these situations and conditions that are happening in Pakistan and are affecting the people, why did you feel like, what was the motive behind this invite, or rather you're coming to LUMS? I want to know.
Okay, thanks. You know, not just like yourself, but I do get puzzled by all these challenges which we are in the midst of it. Political, social, economic, all of it. And on the top of that, I've got a role also to play, to respond to all these challenges. And while I am dispensing all these duties of my constitutional duties, I had a plan to go to all the capitals of all the provinces. And Lahore was the last, unfortunately. I did not come to Punjab. I did come to Janawala when that incident occurred, but didn't come to Punjab's capital, Lahore. And when we were discussing my visit here in Lahore, the idea to come to LUMS fascinated me so much because I wanted to see that are there genuinely people in our generation who can take up to the challenges of all that in which I find myself in the midst as in a deep crisis. You also find yourself. Because when I come across other sections of the society, I at times am not that hopeful. Let me be very honest. And I always am looking for the solution-based and answers that where and how can we get out of it, and who would be the people and the human resource and the individuals who would play a role to turn around this, because the crisis is there. No one can deny that. You might have a different approach to resolve that crisis. I may have a different approach to that. But we do need a kind of human resource and individuals who could be engineers of social change, who could be contributors towards the settlement of this crisis. And every nation and any nation has taken such paths. So where do we get our raw material? LUMS is one answer. IBA, another one. GIK, third one. And there are few others also. So this is one of the reasons that I was very much attracted towards the institution of LUMS, and I decided that I have to be here, and that's why I'm here. And I'm sorry if you are disappointed. This was one of the reasons.
So,
and I'm very encouraged, by the way. So, one more? Yeah, chal tu kar.
Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Inshallah, I'll come again.
Inshallah. सर सबसे पहले तो सर मैं अपने दुख का इजहार करना चाहूँगा कि सर आप एक यूनिवर्सिटी आए, तुलबा अपना टाइम निकाल के आए, साथजा इंतज़ार कर रहे हैं और आप फिर भी सर 50 मिनट लेट आए. बच्चे अपनी क्लास एक दूसरे छोड़ के सर इधर आपका इंतज़ार कर रहे थे. और सर मैं इस बात पे शर्मिंदा हूँ कि मेरे प्राइम मिनिस्टर, बेशक केयर टेकर प्राइम मिनिस्टर हो, उसे इल्म की इज़्ज़त नहीं, या फिर मुझे लगा कि शायद इल्म की इज़्ज़त नहीं. मगर सर मेरा सवाल ये नहीं, मेरा सवाल तो ये है कि सर मेरा सवाल जड़ने वाला के ऊपर है. सर पूरे शहर के चर्च के ऊपर आग लगा दी गई और कहा हमारी हुकूमत ने कुछ नहीं किया. आप सर ऑफिस में ही थे, अगर मेरी इल्म में कमी हो तो सर प्लीज़ इजाफा करें, मगर जितना मुझे इल्म है आप सर ऑफिस में थे और आपके होते ये हुआ, मगर क्या हुकूमत ने सर उसके ऊपर एक्शन लिया है? जी सर आप गए, आपने सर प्रॉब्ली उनके चर्चेज और के लिए आपने उनको पैसे दे दिए होंगे, मगर क्या ये सलूशन है सर? क्या ये एक लॉन्ग टर्म सलूशन है? कितने सर और मंदिर चलेंगे पाकिस्तान में? कितने सर और ईसाइयों चर्च को आपसे जलाएंगे तो हुकूमत को एक्चुअल सर सलूशन की तरफ आएगी? शुक्रिया.
मुझे खुशी ये हो रही है कि तुम अपनी माइनॉरिटीज़ के लिए इतना स्ट्रांगली फील करते हो. ये एक खुशी की बात है. हालांकि तुम तो बहुत मायूस मुझे लग रहे हो हुकूमत के हवाले से. हम मायूस नहीं हैं आपके हवाले से. 50 मिनट बेटा मैं इसलिए लेट आया कि मैं आपके बिहाफ पे एक कैबिनेट मीटिंग स्टार्ट कर चुका था, और कैबिनेट मीटिंग में जिस तरह की डिलिब्रेशंस और जिस तरह की डिस्कशन, अल्लाह ताला तुम्हें उस मकाम तक कभी पहुंचाए किसी भी कैपेसिटी में. ज़रूरी नहीं कि इंसान कैबिनेट मेंबर हो सकता है, एज अ ब्यूरोक्रेट हो, एज अ टेक्नोक्रेट हो. उसमें बहुत सारी ऐसी चीज़ें होती हैं जिसके बड़े दूररस नताइज आपकी ज़िंदगी के लिए भी हैं, इसकी ज़िंदगी के लिए भी हैं, उसकी ज़िंदगी के लिए भी हैं. और मैं अगर वक्त को लिमिट कर दूं और ये कहूं कि मैं इसमें एडिशनल 30 मिनट 35 मिनट या 40 मिनट नहीं कहूँगा, क्योंकि मेरा चंदा वहाँ नाराज़ हो जाएगा जो कि इंतज़ार कर रहा है, और वो डिसीजन लूँ जो इल इन्फॉर्म्ड हो, प्रॉपर डिस्कशन का प्रोडक्ट ना हो. तो जिस काम के लिए मुझे चुना गया है ना, प्राइमरली वो काम मैं नहीं कर रहा हूँ. मुझे इस काम के लिए नहीं चुना गया है कि मैं आके लम्स में आपसे बात करूँ. ये मैं सिर्फ एक एडिशनल पर्सनल प्रिविलेज को एक्सप्लॉइट करते हुए मैंने की है. ये हम दोनों की एग्रीमेंट से हुआ. आपने एग्री किया कि हम आएंगे, मैंने एग्री किया कि मैं एड्रेस करूंगा. ये किसी कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल अरेंजमेंट की रिक्वायरमेंट नहीं है, ना मेरा बोलना ना आपका सुनना. जब हम वॉलंटियर करते हैं तो उस वॉलंटियर में बाज़ औक़ात وقت کی جو تقاضے ہوتے ہیں نا وہ ریئلسٹکلی آپ کے اساتذہ سے میں 15 منٹ بولا 20 منٹ بولا، وہ بھی آپ کے جو انسٹیٹیوشن کے حوالے سے کچھ چیزیں تھیں تو 55 منٹ میں 25 منٹ وہ نکال دو، 35 منٹ رہ گئے. 35 منٹ کی معذرت جو میں نے آپ کو کابینہ کی ایکسپلینیشن دی ہے شاید وہ اس کو کمپنسیٹ کر دے، کیونکہ ہمارا ایک والنٹیئر انٹریکشن ہے، ہمارا کوئی اسٹرکٹلی پروفیشنلی باؤنڈیڈ پیڈ سروسز ریلیشن شپ نہیں ہے کہ مجھے یہاں 5:05 پر آنا تھا اور تم مایوس ہو گئے اور اس مایوسی کے بدلے میں جو ہے نا میں نے اس کو کمپنسیٹ کرنا ہے. یو ہیڈ آل دا رائٹ ٹو لیو دس ہال. آپ کو کسی نے اس پہ پابند نہیں کرنا تھا، کسی نے برا نہیں کہنا تھا، کیونکہ ایک والنٹیئر پریزنس تھی آپ کی. تو آئندہ ایسی چیزوں پہ مایوس نہ ہوا کرو اور اسٹے پازیٹیو. یہ ہمارے دیکھو میں میرے چھوٹے بھائیوں کی طرح، یہ اس ایج میں نا انسان کو غصہ بڑا آتا ہے. وہ اینگر مینجمنٹ جو ہے نا دیٹ از دی موسٹ، میں اپنے بیٹے کو کہتا ہوں جب بھی کوئی ایسی حرکت کرتا ہے نا میں اس کو کہتا ہوں اینگر مینجمنٹ. وہ بعد میں جب مجھے کوئی غصہ آتا ہے نا وہ بھی ٹاؤنٹ کرتے ہوئے مجھے یہی کہتا ہے کہ جی اینگر مینجمنٹ کرو. تو چیزوں کو ریلیٹیولی ہم ہیومنسٹک لیول پہ تھوڑا سا نارمل لیتے ہیں. یہ بہت سختی ہم نے ایک دوسرے کے لیے بنا دی ہے، تھوڑا سا ایز ڈاؤن کرتے ہیں. چلیں آخری کوشچن لیتے ہیں. یار وہ سارے تم لوگ ناراض ہو گئے اسی طرح 55 منٹ والے. چلیں I leave it to you.
تھینک یو سو مچ سر. فرسٹ آف آل میرا کوشچن آپ سے یہ تھا سر، جب آپ الیکٹ ہوئے تھے نا ایز اے کیئر ٹیکر پرائم، ٹھیک ہے سلیکٹ ہوئے تھے.
اچھا میں سلیکٹ بھی نہیں ہوا تھا، میں نامینیٹ ہوا تھا. چلو
تو بلوچستان کے لوگوں کو آپ سے سر بہت توقع تھی کہ آپ جو ہے نا پہلی بار ایک کیئر ٹیکر پرائم منسٹر آپ آئے ہیں اتنے وقت میں، تو آپ بہت زیادہ ڈیولپمنٹ پروجیکٹس اور کیا کہتے ہیں ایک ایسی اپروچ لے کر آئیں گے کہ جتنے بھی ریزرویشنز ہیں چاہے پشتونز کے ہیں چاہے بلوچوں کے ہیں وہ سب آپ حل کریں گے. لیکن مجھے یاد پڑتا ہے کہ وہ جو کچلاک سے قلعہ سیفلا تھا کہ ڈبل روڈ بن رہا تھا وہ بھی رک گیا ہے سر. اور دوسرا یہ جو افغان ریفیوجیز کا مسئلہ آ گیا ہے سر.
آپ کہاں سے ہیں؟
میں کوئٹہ سے ہوں سر. سر کوئٹہ کی ہاف پاپولیشن، ہاف جو کاروبار ہے جو بزنس ہے سارا وہ افغان ریفیوجیز رن کرتے ہیں. تو اگر یہ سخت اور اسٹرکٹ ڈپورٹیشن آپ نے جو سٹارٹ کی ہے سر، اس کی وجہ سے آپ نے یہ کانسیکوینسز سوچے کہ کوئٹہ میں اور بلوچستان میں اسپیسیفکلی وہ پاپولیشن جو پہلے سے ہی اتنی زیادہ اگریوڈ ہے اور اتنے اس کے تحفظات ہیں اس پر کیا گزرے گی، اور یہ جو ایک نا ویو ہے ٹیررزم کی اس کو کتنا جو ہے نا اس ڈپورٹیشن اور اس سارے مسئلے سے کتنی جو ہے نا اس کو ایک گروتھ ملے گی. تو کیا آپ نے اس کے بارے میں کوئی ایک نا انفارمڈ ڈیسیجن لیا یا کوئی آپ نے، مجھے تو نہیں لگتا کہ آپ نے کوئی انٹرنل جو اسٹیک ہولڈرز تھے چاہے وہ بلوچستان سے ہوں چاہے وہ کے پی سے ہیں، آپ نے ان کو بھی جو ہے نا لیا ہوگا. ایک وہ جو پی ایم کی ایک اسپیسیفک کابینہ ہوتی ہے وہ سب سے ایلیٹ اور ٹاپ لیول والے وہ ڈیسیجن لیتے ہیں سر. تو مائی کوشچن ٹو یو دیٹ کہ آپ نے اس مسئلے کو کیسے اپروچ کیا؟
آپ کوئٹہ میں کہاں سے پشتون ہیں؟
او سر پشتون ہیں.
پشتون
سید ہم سر.
سید کربلا ہے.
او سر.
اچھا وہ یہ لاسٹ کوشچن اس سے آ گیا. ایک تو بار بار میں یہ گزارشات کر رہا ہوں اور کرتا رہوں گا، ظاہر ہے میرا فی الحال یہ کام ہے. دیکھیے میں جب نامینیٹ ہو کر وہاں آیا وہ نامینیشن مجھے اس بات پہ ریجیمنٹل انداز میں نہیں ابار سکتی ہے کہ میں باقی صوبوں کے ڈیولپمنٹ فنڈز اٹھاؤں اور بلوچستان کو دے دوں. ٹھیک ہے، میں ضلع قلعہ سیف اللہ کا وزیر اعظم تو ہوں نہیں، نہ میں ضلع پشین کا ہوں. اگر مجھے پاکستان کی وفاقی حکومت کی ریاست کی ذمہ داری دی گئی ہے جو کہ ہے اس کیس میں نے اس کو پورے پیرائے میں دیکھنا ہے، پورے کانٹیکسٹ میں دیکھنا ہے. آپ جانتے ہیں کہ پاکستان جس طرح کی فائنینشیل کرنچ سے گزر رہا ہے، آئی ایم ایف کے پروگرامز کا ہمیں سامنا ہے، ٹیکس دینا یہاں پر گناہ تصور کیا جاتا ہے. لوگ میرے جیسے, آپ جیسے, میرے بڑے, آپ کے بڑے, ہمارے آس پاس کے لوگ, آپ ذرا نگاہ دوڑائیں اس ہال میں بیٹھے ہوئے تمام لوگوں کو. میں کہتا ہوں مجھ سے تو بڑے لوگ ناراض اور سخت کوشچن کرنے کی کوشش کرتے ہیں. کتنے اپنے گھر میں اور اپنے آس پاس کے لوگوں کا آپ کو پتہ ہے جو پاکستان میں ٹیکس کنٹریبیوٹ نہیں کرتے ہیں؟ آپ صرف اپنے آپ سے پوچھیں, مجھے چھوڑ دیں, مجھے جواب نہیں چاہیے, خود سے صرف سوال کریں. ٹیکس ٹو جی ڈی پی ریشیو پاکستان میں 10% ہے. چاہیے سب کو اسکینڈینیویا ہے جہاں پہ ٹیکس ٹو جی ڈی پی ریشیو 92% ہے. میں نے جب وہ کچلاخ کی ڈیول روڈ بنانی ہوگی نا, جب یہ 40% پہ آ جائے گا نا, میں اس طرح کی 2 روڈیں بنا دوں گا. ٹیکس تو کنٹریبیوٹ کوئی کرتا نہیں ہے, روڈ ہر ایک مانگتا ہے, ہسپتال ہر ایک. کہاں سے میں روڈ بناؤں گا, کہاں سے میں ہسپتال بناؤں گا؟ مجھے آپ بے حس ثابت کر سکتے ہیں, لیکن میرے پاس تو یہ ریسورسز ہے. ریونیو جنریشن تو میں نے آپ لوگوں سے کرنی ہے, آپ سے ٹیکس کلیکٹ کرنا ہے, وہ کوئی دیتا نہیں ہے. اور اگر دیں تو اس پہ کئی قسم کے جو الزامات ہیں وہ اپنی طرف سے ہیں. دیکھیں دوبارہ میں آپ کو عرض کر رہا ہوں, ہم افغان ریفیوجیز کو نہیں نکال رہے ہیں, ہم انلیگلز کو نکال رہے ہیں. اور انلیگلز نے اگر اس اکانومی میں اپنا ایک سٹرکچر بنا دیا ہے, آپ جائیں نا یو کے میں اور وہاں پہ میکڈونلڈز میں بغیر ٹیکس دیے کام کریں, وہ تو اس پہیے میں کام ہو رہا ہے نا, کر سکتے ہیں آپ. فرانس میں آپ کسی ریسٹورنٹ میں, ہاسپٹیلٹی انڈسٹری میں کسی کو وائن کا گلاس دے سکتے ہیں, سالمن فش کھلا سکتے ہیں, نہیں کھلا سکتے ہیں ڈیئر. آپ کو ٹیکس دینا پڑے گا. when you will be having that salary, اس کا ایک پورشن فرینچ کی ریاست کو جائے گا, برٹش ریاست کو جائے گا. یہاں پہ 40 سال سے آپ کے بھی باغ میں کام کر رہے ہیں, میرے بھی باغ میں کام کر رہے ہیں, اور میں نے اس سٹیک ہولڈر سے جو نہ ایگریکلچر ٹیکس دیتا ہے نہ وہاں پہ اس لیبر کا ٹیکس دیتا ہے, لیکن چونکہ وہ سٹیک ہولڈر ہے, ناراض ہے, وہ مجھے گلے سے بھی پکڑے گا اور کہے گا یہ میں کیا ڈریکونین پالیسیز امپلیمنٹ کر رہا ہوں. میں بہت اچھی طریقے سے بلوچستان اور کے پی کو الحمدللہ جانتا ہوں, مجھے پتا ہے کہ وہاں پر ہم کیا کرتے ہیں. یہ شاید ان بیچاروں کو نہ پتا ہو, میں اور آپ تو ایک دوسرے کو بہت اچھی طریقے سے جانتے ہیں, اپنی حرکتوں کو بھی جانتے ہیں, اپنی سٹرینگثs کو بھی جانتے ہیں, اپنی ویکنسز کو بھی جانتے ہیں. کیا ٹیررزم میں یہ جو گروہ ہیں ان کی انوالومنٹ نہیں ہوئی ہے؟ ابھی جو پشاور میں مسجد میں پریویس گورنمنٹ کے لاسٹ ڈیز میں ایک سوسائڈ بامنگ ہوئی, تو 150 بندہ شہید ہوا. اس میں جو سوسائڈ بامر تھا اس کے ڈی این اے سے ثابت ہوئے وہ افغانس تھے. یہ نہیں کہ سارے افغان ٹیررسٹ, ناٹ ایٹ آل, ناٹ ایٹ آل. لیکن دس از پارٹ آف دا پرابلم. ہم نے اس کو ایڈریس کرنا ہے. ہمارے لیے ایز اے اسٹیٹ پرائم رسپانسبلٹی ہے کہ سب سے پہلے تمہاری ایز اے پاکستانی اور اس کی ایز اے پاکستانی, پنجابی ہے, کالا ہے, گورا ہے, سفید ہے, پیلا ہے, اس کی پروٹیکشن ہے. جو ایلین ہے, جو ریفیوجی ہے, اس کی پروٹیکشن سیکنڈ فیز میں ہے. مجھے آئین نے پہلے اس کی ذمہ داری دی ہوئی ہے. اور اگر میں یہ سمجھتا ہوں کہ اس پاپولیشن میں جو کہ انلیگل پاپولیشن ہے, اس کا ایک حصہ اس میں کنٹریبیوٹ کر رہا ہے, تو میں نے کوئی سے ہو سکتا ہے غلط بقول آپ کے جیسے کہ ہم نے سوچا ہی نہیں, اور ایلیٹ کے 2-4 لوگوں کو واٹس ایپ کیا, فون شون کیا, انہوں نے بتا دیا, ہم نے پالیسی بنا دی. ہو سکتا ہے یہی ہو, لیکن ہو سکتا ہے کہ بہت ساری انسٹیٹیوشنل انپٹس کے بعد جو تحصیل کی سطح سے لے کے, ضلع کی سطح سے لے کے, ڈویژن کی سطح سے لے کے, سول اداروں سے لے کے, ملٹری اداروں سے لے کے, یہ پور ان انفارمیشن آتی ہے, اس پہ ڈسکشن ہوتی ہے, پھر اس کے نتیجے میں کوئی پالیسی بنتی ہے. ایسے نہیں ہوتا ہے اسٹیٹ کرافٹ میں کہ بس بیٹھے بٹھائے جو ہے نا ہم 2-4